It's time once again to go racing.
The pressure is really on now. And it's pole position.
And it's pedal to the metal. Go, go, go!
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the PSGL Premier Sim Gaming League F2 round number 11 for season 29 here at Suzuka. My name is King Kodiak and I'll be one of your commentators throughout this evening's race. Joining me in the commentary box is not my usual stablemate. Mr. Aladar has got other commitments, but I am joined by the legend, the god, the voice of PSGL himself. It's Mr. George Morgan.
Good evening, Chris. How you doing? I got to say, I'm gracing you, should I say, of my presence here at F2 here tonight. But I'm very excited. The racing here, the calibre of drivers is certainly absolutely wicked, and I cannot wait for this one.
Absolutely. So we're just waiting for Mr. Martinez to load in, and then we'll get qualifying underway. We're all familiar with how this works by now. It's 18 minutes of qualifying, not the way that the F1 does it. The F1 tier, of course, parked for the rest of the season. Ooh, that's cloudy for this one. Let's see what is what then. Who is armed with what tyres this time? Now I'm a little bit out of practice. A couple of weeks ago we were in Canada, which was, as always, for F2, an absolutely stonking race. I unfortunately have been a little bit unwell, so if I'm sounding groggy, that is why. Sadly, I had a positive COVID test last week, but I'm through the worst of it, I'm very glad to say, and very glad to be back in the saddle here at PSGL. Who has just gone out first? It is, wait for the overlay to tell me, it's Luke Smith that's gone out first. There he is in the Alpha Tauri. So then, Mr. Morgan, Suzuka, what can you tell me?
Well, I got to say, one of my favourite circuits in Formula One, the first sector, of course. Who doesn't like this first sector? It's like a roller coaster heading up through these S sections, through turns 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The snake section, certainly a glamorous look, can be quite treacherous though if you step on it, in the wrong manner anyway. Round turn 7 at Dunlop Curve, heading into the Degners, as you can now see Luke Smith doing now in the Alpha Tauri, coming around the next right-hander there at turn 9 before you then make the almighty climb up to the hairpin bends. It's a very testing track, certainly when you've got corners like the 130 and 200R as well. Plenty to be concerned about. Lots of overtakings areas though around turn 15, heading down that long stretch, and of course the DRS section between the final corner and of course turn 1. We're going to be in for a cracker here tonight, but at the same time a very technical circuit. A nice general mix of good quality racing, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Suzuka, anyone who's any fan of any racing of any category knows this circuit. It's seen so much action. It's seen the conclusion of many championships. So this is going to be a belter, and especially if the usual inclement conditions strike at Suzuka, as we just see Luke Smith coming to the end of his outlap. He's certainly taken his time, but he's invalidated it already. Well done. You didn't even get that one started, and you managed to get a big old invalidation on there. So let's have a look.
Positive stuff.
Well done. Let's see who we've got then in this sphere. Christian Hausmann is out there in the Alfa Romeo. John Evans, a name very familiar in this tier, in the Aston Martin, starts his lap. Ika Pena in the McLaren is already got a big red mark on the map. Bearing in mind that's not always 100% accurate, I am well aware of that. Paris Burrell in the pits. Sam Bean has a qualifying ban, if I recall. He had an incident last time out at Canada, of which he was deemed to be at fault. So I think, if I remember this correctly, he will be starting from the back, but he still maintains a comfortable championship lead. Lewis Welch out there in the Alpine, giving it a bit of a wiggle, coming through Dunlop. We have Luke Smith, as we've mentioned. Jack Laverty is with us as well in the Williams. Oh wow, looks like he was going to fly off the road there coming into the first turn. Sam McBride, Mercedes, I thought he was on the... Crikey, that was close. He is indeed on the medium tyres, slightly unusual, but that's what he's gone for. There's Norberto in the Ferrari coming down to the hairpin for the first time in anger. Now that's a name I'm not familiar with, so welcome to you in the house, Jeffrey Miguel Reno Ritchie. Welcome to you. Get owned in the second of the houses. Very familiar with that one. Floris Valles, glad to see good old Floris in the Ferrari this time around. There's Luke Smith, of course, the first to get a time on the board. Andreas Dormeyer in the AlphaTauri is out there getting on with the job. Christian Sindel is also with us. And we also have got the name I always get wrong. It's Chanakinchi in the second Mercedes. Big old invalidated lap for him. Well done, you. Dylan Warren in the second of the McLarens, just coming out of the pit lane to have a go himself, if he can find a gap in the traffic. Neon, our lobby host, is out there as well, along with Tom Martinez, who's in the pit lane, and just jumped to the top of the time screen is the other Aston of Antoine de Zalewski. Any particular name you're keeping an eye on, George, or are you keeping an eye on everybody?
Well, the one man I want to pinpoint is John Evans, an extremely competent driver. Ever since the new update, the new patch update came out, he's been on incredible form. Actually picked up his first win in WOR recently after claiming the Mexican Grand Prix in absolutely fabulous fashion, beating off Jarno Watmir, outwitting the Flying Dutchman in the final portion of that race with the rain coming down. He likes to go the distance, likes to pull off erroneous strategies. He's got the bottle. Has he got the bottle and the pace here tonight?
Oh, he's certainly got the pace. He's absolutely proven that. Oops! Now, we've both managed to commentate to curse him, because as soon as you mentioned his name, I jumped to him and he was in the gravel trap, and you mentioned, as soon as I said, he's certainly got the pace to do it, he then has a bit of a slow spin at the hairpin. So it's going brilliantly well for John at the moment. His teammate, however, currently pole with a 1:27.818. Now, every single race we have here in F2, the times are really, really close. Someone in chat saying, try saying Jeffrey Miguel Reno Ritchie 10 times very fast. No, is what I'm going to say to that, because I will not get it right at all. I will absolutely butcher the name. I'm just realising that we need that graphic on, which I believe is the... Let me just double check. That's what they got fitted, isn't it? Yes, that's the fitted tyre they've got at the moment. A couple of people trying the hard tyre, Sam McBride and Neon trying the medium tyre, everyone else going softs. Weather's not looking great out there. Now, does the cloudy conditions make a huge difference, do you think, George?
Well, it definitely cool the track down. It's certainly not going to be an optimal temperature, though I'm sure with just the sheer factor of the cars themselves going around the circuit, that will obviously heat it up. But at the same time, not ideal. But then again, we've still got over 11 minutes left to go in the session. We all know what happens in the Formula 1 game is the minutes do count down. Anything can happen. We could start seeing the rain clouds come into effect. The rain could start tumbling down, and the last 5 minutes could be waterlogged. You never know. You just never know in these situations. Suzuka as well is quite fond of the wet conditions from time to time, so it wouldn't be a surprise to see it chuck it down.
Absolutely. Now, Sam Bean has just gone into third. Now, I thought he was on a quali ban for this race. I might have that incorrect, but I thought he was facing a penalty. I wonder if you could double check that for me, George, if you wouldn't mind, so I don't interrupt the stream, because I'm... Whoops! And commentator curse again as I cut to Tom Martinez, just as he's had a spin into first turn, backwards into the wall. The commentator curse is strong with me tonight. Dylan Warren is out there in the McLaren, just coming to the end of his first time lap, and that's the pole time currently of 1:27.775. Just, 9 tenths of a second from first to 12th. John Evans, of course, not setting a representative lap. Ika Bania is right behind his teammate at the moment. So we'll see what happens. I wonder whether we are going to get some inclement weather. I've seen many a race go get very wet and horrid at Suzuka. As Dylan Warren gets out of the way. Slipstream's not going to play a huge part, or certainly not as big a part in this race as we've seen in some others. So I'm not surprised Dylan was getting out of the way. Plus, Ikebania is on his out lap rather than a push lap. Did you have a chance to double check if Sam's got a penalty, or have I got that completely wrong?
Well, no, he not quite that kind of a penalty, and as I understand it, 3 licence points added to Samuel Bean, and he does have a 10-second time penalty to serve at the next event, so he will be hit with a 10-second penalty at the end of this race as well.
Right.
Which I'm sure would cost him a lot more anyway.
More than likely, but then his pace has just been absolutely unreal. He's definitely one to watch in the future, but this has been said so many times. The amount of talent in F2 is easily enough to warrant, the F1 guys. I'm sure you'd agree, George. The F1 guys must be keeping an eye on these guys, because these guys are unbelievably quick.
Well, if you've noticed as well, a lot of these drivers are getting picked up now by a lot of the professional teams. G2 Esports, for example, have picked up Paris Burrell to be part of that 3-man Red Bull team heading into F1 Esports. He is now taking the place as a reserve driver. I would say the gap between F2 and F1 is a very fine margin. It's very, very slim. In fact, I'd probably say it's blurred, because I have to say, you put the likes of John Evans against Jana Watmir at WOR, John Evans comes out on top. I think that just tells the whole story anyway. But the likes of, for instance, Dylan Warren, who was fighting at the very top only months ago. You've got Antoine Desilewski, who's perfectly capable. Chana Kinchi, I tip to be a future F1 esports star as well. Not to mention the likes of Luke Smith, who's always improving. Many others as well. Christian Sendel, I picked out when he was in Tier 4 many years ago. Or should I say a year ago, not many years ago, but all the way back then. It felt like many years ago, but nevertheless, he was sensational. Sam McBride too. But Johnny Evans is a standout for me. Tom Martinez has made it clear that he intends to try and attack.
Oh, I've done it again. I've managed another one I've looked at and they've spun.
Wow, you haven't got magnets there or anything like that? Have you that you play?
My camera operation's clearly quite dangerous. It would seem.
Obviously.
Sorry, George, I interrupted you. Carry on.
No, it's okay. No. I have to say we're blessed with an abundance of top stars here in F2, and certainly lots of them have very, very bright futures. And you just have to look at those delta times, minimal gaps between every single one of them.
And it's like that every single week. It's not just one, freak showing. Where we all have it occasionally, where just one race seems to generate some amazing, incredible racing. Every single week we have this in F1. I'll get the correct words out in a minute. In F1 and in F2, the gaps are so close in qualifying, and you have 3, 4, 5, 6 car battles for the lead, lap after lap after lap after lap. It's absolutely incredible, and it's a great pleasure to be a part of it as I'm watching Jack Laverty get very, very squiggly coming out of Spoon. I'm guessing just the track is just colder than people are expecting, because a lot of people seem to be really struggling to keep the car pointing in the right direction. He's now coming into Casio, currently third, 1:27.832, 6.5 minutes to go, so still time for people to improve. Does Jack improve? He does indeed, up to second with the 1:27.814, mighty 4 thousandths of a second ahead of Antoine Zalewski. Oh, we'll get that right, Zalewski. Oh, Floris Vyers has just jumped up into second with a 1:27.791. Lewis Welch has jumped up into third with 1:27.795. 4 thousandths of a second seems to be the buzzword at the moment, as we got 4 thousandths between Floris and Louis. Never mind, Luke Smith has just jumped up into first, and same gap. But I can't keep up. Will you people pack it in? And now Antoine Zalewski has got the pole with a 1:27.684.
Amazing stuff indeed. And again, it goes back to what I was saying. The talent, it just doesn't deviate across this field. And we're teed up now for a fascinating final 5 minutes, folks at home, because obviously now we're going to be watching all these drivers go out for certainly what will surely be a shotgun finish to qualifying, as John Evans immediately answers the critics again with a 1:27.639 and goes near enough half a tenth of a second quicker than his teammate Antoine Desilewski. And if that isn't a statement to John Evans' form as of late, I don't know what is. What a start there from the man in the Aston Martin.
Sam Bean coming over the line. Does he improve? Not this time. A 120, still 127.895, 1,000s behind Chana Kenji, currently sitting in 10th position. The championship leader. He will remain championship leader after this round, irrespective of result, but of course he's still looking to build on his incredible form. Where is Tom Martinez? We've seen him squiggling around, yellow flags coming into the final sector. That's probably because someone's slow. I can't see anybody off the road. Into the Cassia Triangle. What can he do? Alpine. Less than 5 minutes to go now. People are starting to take the laps a little bit more seriously. That's 13th with a 28.023. Bearing in mind that's only 0.4 of a second off the pole time, and that's 13th place. Good lord.
Absolutely mega, and that just, like I said, it blows my mind as well. The delta gap's just so marginal, literally between the whole grid, and that is what's brilliant about PSGL. Certainly, not only in F1, we see it in F2 as well, week on week. F2 arguably far more competitive than what F1 is on the odd occasion as well. They're all chopping and biting at the bit to try and get into that top tier, and that is what league racing is all about, folks. Fight for your spot, fight for your place, and these guys know how to do it.
Couldn't agree more with that. We're not seeing a huge amount of quiet time either. There's Sam McBride in the second of the Mercedes. One of the many 127.7s we've got out there. 127.789. His time sees him in 5th position. It wasn't actually the car I was aiming for. It was that one I was aiming for. Christian Hausmann has come back out in the Alfa Romeo. Most people have gone back into the pits, preparing for what I call the Banzai phase. So track at its absolute optimum, and let's see who is going to come out on top. No one is running the harder tyre. Makes me wonder if we're going to have some rain in the race, because generally you see some people running the medium tyres at least. We only saw 2 laps on those, yet we have seen only those 2 runs as mentioned. Now we're seeing the outlaps cropping up on the tower. Few people going to come out. Let's see how this is going to go down for that top spot, currently held by John Evans in the Aston. As you can see, the only people without a representative lap is Ikebania and Paris Burrell. My goodness, from 1st to 18th is 0.6 of a second now. Absolutely unreal. And you can lose that kind of time at Suzuka in 1 or 2. If you get the S's wrong, that's half a second easily.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably one of the more poignant points, as well as the hairpin at turn 11. That's the other one you've got to look out for. But we're now watching Christian Hausmann, who certainly looks to be the next man on the cards to set out a fast lap. He's making his way through the S's now, heading around Dunlop Curve at turn 7. And now he's going to power towards the Degners, the very snappy, quick right-hander. Another right-hander is what beckons at turn 9 around the second Degner. Now flying up through towards turn 10, that little kink in the road before we then reach turn 11, where you've got to try and hug the inside line, just try and feather the throttle slightly, and then power through out of the corner into turn 12 at the 200R as he now hightails through this next right-handed section, following the white line on the right-hand side. He'll then cut through to the left, heading around Spoon Curve at turn 13, takes a lot of the curve on the inset, on the outset, doesn't barely scrape it as he now powers his way down the stretch at the crossover, and now very shortly around 130R at turn 14. The Alfa Romeo now still not in the top 10, both cars 15th and 17th. Huge lap on the cards here for Christian Hausmann. Should he be able to put it together into the Casio Triangle chicane now, into what will be that swinging section now heading out where there used to be a dip. It's no longer there. DRS now opens up for Christian Hausmann. P9 is what he can get, but I get the feeling he's a little vulnerable.
127.845. His time sees him, as George says, into 9th place, and everybody except Paris Burrell out on circuit. Now, I wonder if it was Paris that had the qualifying ban. I was certain somebody did. I thought it was Sam Bean. Turns out not to be. Anyway, there's Luke Smith that's working his way through the Degners. He's on his last flying lap. What can he do? As we now head into the hairpin, keep the car nice and steady. Currently 3rd position by just over 1/10 of a second, with a lot of people hitting, snapping at his heels for that 2nd row spot. Into Spoon. What can the AlphaTauri do? And using every available inch, you can see from that aerial shot just how close he gets to invalidating the lap. Barely pixels wide before he invalidates it, but it's still looking good for Luke Smith. Now screaming down towards the fast left-hander. Lewis Welch has done a 27.5. That's 127.582 for the Alpine. Who can answer that call? We will see who can answer that challenge. Flores has retired from the session. Can Luke Smith answer it? Not quite. It's front row nonetheless. 127.604 for Luke Smith. Who else is on a hard line? Oh, John Evans! Massive spin, just like Cutter, and the commentator curse is strong in me tonight. As I've cut to him, he's just lost it coming out of Spoon. Massive front wing damage. That's the end of his run. But Anton Zalewski, I will get that name right. I haven't struggled with it before, but for some reason tonight, my mouth is not behaving itself. As Norberto has jumped up into 5th position in the Ferrari. Nicely done. Neon is done for the night. It's pole for Zalewski. 127.532.
Incredible there from Desalewski, and certainly he will not be the only one. Getone trying to power up through the field too as he crosses the line. The Alfa Romeo coming through as well, and Jack Lafferty immediately answers as well and gets himself up into P1 in the Williams.
Wow.
Incredible stuff. We have also got a Mercedes coming through very shortly as well. That is of course Chanakinchi, who's trying to hit the top spot. He powers through now with DRS open, comes across the line into 6th place. You've got further cars coming in behind as well. Samuel Bean up into P8 now as well, with another Haas coming through too. No improvement there from them. We've also got an Alpine looking to come across the line. Tom Martinez up into P10, as we're now also seeing Chanakinchi, who's already finished. We've got Sam McBride, his teammate, coming to join him. P11 is all he can muster. He can't improve. What a finale we've got here in qualifying here at Suzuka.
My goodness me. Ikebania is bringing his McLaren back into the pits. The only one that hasn't deemed to be retired is Luke Smith. He's just hit the pit lane. My word. Look at that. 27.5 set by 3 drivers. Jack Laverty, Antoine Desalewski and Lewis Welch. What an incredible flurry of times we've seen to finish off the session, but what a race this is a precursor to. And if we've got inclement weather as well, oh yeah, bring it on.
Yeah, I mean, 0.03 of a second nearly separates Anton Desalewski and Jack Lafferty. The very minimal gap, and that is sensational. But a credit to him, that is a clutch finale at the end of qualifying. So big credit to him for that. It takes a lot of balls to achieve such a feat, I think. And Jack Lafferty certainly has proven that. Anton Desalewski, though, take nothing away from him. 300s, as I said, was the difference. He could have easily got pole, but an incredible effort from him, as well as Lewis Welch as well. The pad man blows me away week after week. And yet again, he's up in the top 3. Not bad at all after qualifying.
Not bad indeed. I can't call him Jack Lavy. I'm sorry, I draw the line at that. No chance. Right. So Jack Laverty and Antoine Desalewski take on the front row.
He's not flushed, put it that way. It's fine.
I'm not even going there. Lewis Welch and Luke Smith, row 2. John Evans and Chanakinchi, row 3. Norberto and Sam Bean, row 4. Championship leader down there in 8th position. That's slightly unusual, but let's see what he can do. Dylan Warren and Tom Martinez take on row 5. Sam McBride and Floris Vyas, row 6. Christian Sandell and Neon, row 7. Kristen Hausman and Andres Dormeyer on row 8. Devry Miguel and Get Owned, row 9. And Ikebania and Paris Burrell round out the field. Ooh, well. Let's see how this is going to go. But yeah, what a great effort then from Jack Laverty.
Yeah, supremely amazing effort. And certainly against the field that is so competitive, as I said before, that is what makes that P1 ultimately sweeter. But the big challenge is now to hold it heading into turn 1, because it's notorious here at Japan for those starting on pole. It takes a lot of effort to keep hold of it. I have to say, if you're coming in towards turn 1, you tend to find that those starting in P2 tend to get a slight advantage off the line. You know, he could be in for a real fight here heading into Sector 1, and especially the snake section. Certainly when the tyres are cold and you haven't warmed them up sufficiently, it's so easy to spin, and they need to watch those curbs as well.
That they do. That doesn't look inclement at all. That is gloriously blue skies. Not a cloud to be seen. So lots of people are going to be starting on the softs, and when we get a chance to see how the tail end of the field, generally the back end will start on the medium tyres. We will see this. Sometimes 1 or 2 people that will chance their arm and try an alternate strategy. And when we get a chance to have a look, we will see who is going to throw the dice at that one. I mean, again, you never know. We've had a safety car on quite a number of rounds in F2 this season. So the barriers aren't that close to the track here in Suzuka, so hopefully the safety car will remain parked. We will see as we head down for the parade lap. What have people gone for? Let's have a look. Okay, so Neon, Houseman and Jeffrey Miguel Rino Ricci are throwing the dice and go for the softer tyres in that back half of the field. Everyone else running with the medium tyre, as I thought they would. So Jack now leads them on the parade lap, coming through the snake section. So you've got to be careful trying to work your tyres through this section. I've seen many people bin it through that particular section, trying to work the tyres and steer at the same time. I can't confirm that I've done it myself. You've got no evidence of that. Honest?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, it's why warming up your tyres is so prevalent, and that is why you need to use the formation lap for what it's there for. Literally, just make sure they're up to temperature. Get yourself prepared. Get yourself literally situated in the car and ready for the start of the race. Because obviously, heading up through the snake sections, through turns 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they are going to be some of the toughest corners on the track. And to have them first off, and if you can get past them, it'll make your race so much more simpler. But anything anything could be more difficult than it. Nothing could be more difficult than this, should I say? Because naturally, you've got other competitors out on the track at the start. A lot of those starting further down the grid see it as an opportunity to improve. Positions are at stake. They're all going to be going for it. So, who's bravest heading into Sector 1?
Who's your money on? Get off the fence, Mr. George.
Well, I'm going to stick with my pick, John Evans. I think he's going to do it. My money's on that man in the Aston Martin.
Yeah, it's a decent shout. John has been pretty good. I'm gonna go with the obvious bet. I'm gonna go Sam Bean. As much as he's starting in 8th position, he's been almost bulletproof all season. So I'm going to go with the championship leader on this one. Place your bets in chat as well. Make yourself known, get involved. Who are you betting? There's quite a few names already been chucked around. Sam McBride's name is in there. Of course, Jack Laverty has been mentioned. Well, quite a few people have been mentioned. Money on Luke Smith to crash. Subtle. I'm sure he'll love you for that one. But the grid now being formed. The car's now under AI control. This is where I used to get most nervous. And any time I did any kind of league racing, this is the point where my everything felt very heavy, and I was just at my most nervous. I was never a fan of this bit, but when the racing gets underway is what we're all here for. Let's be honest. Right, enough time for talk. It is time to get this race underway. Let's get this underway. It's time to wind them up and let them go. Who's had the best start? Who's going to be bravest on the brakes? What a start from Jack Laverty, trying to cut Antoine Desaluski off. Can't do it though. The Aston Martin's on the inside line. Can he sweep around the outside? No! The Aston's going to hold the inside line. Coming through the first turn, takes the lead briefly, but Jack Laverty's still going to hold the side-by-side. Still side-by-side with cold tyres as well. Into the S's, but no, the Aston has managed to win out just, but he had to really fight for that. What a great effort there from Desaluski and Jack Laverty now coming through Dunlop. Has everybody managed to survive? Yes, it looks... No, just as I say it, that's Jeffrey Miguel Rino Ricci that has had trouble. He's still down there. He's now underway again, but his big spin there has dropped him right to the back of the field. What a great start from the Aston.
Well, call me Mystic Meg. It's exactly like I foresaw. Antoine Desaluski on second on the grid, managing to trump Jack Lafferty heading into the first corner, and that's exactly what I said would happen. That's what I said could happen. And Antoine, I have to say, absolutely brilliant. Got a great launch off the line, picked his spot, as now John Evans faces a little bit of a tricky customer himself in Samuel Bean. King Kodiak's pick now, trying to make his way around the outside as they make their way down towards the 130. John Evans trying to hold on here, runs a little wide. There you can see the Williams though in the distance. He's fallen back. John Evans, well defended.
Nicely done. I think Sam was a little bit wide coming through Spoon, which gave the opportunity then to John Evans to maintain that particular position. So over the line for the first time in anger. One of the McLarens has fallen about. That's Ika Pena. He's gone into the pits. He's had trouble already. Oh dear. That's a new front wing then for the McLaren. And tyre change as well. So Jeffrey Miguel chose to continue, so no damage on the Haas, but leading the way still. Desalewski from Laverty, from Welch, from Smith, from Evans is the top 5. How can this shake out? Well, we're going to have to wait and see. Look at that. Everyone from 18th down to the lead, all in the same line. Sam McBride is the lead of the medium runners, not challenged at the moment. So Houseman's had a terrible start. Just as I say that, Tom Martinez and Dylan Warren have just swapped round. Big move from the McLaren. Oh, gets a punch in the face as well. He's now ghosted, so trouble there for Dylan Warren, it seems. Oh, goodness me, that's not gone well for him. That was a pretty big move, but hasn't paid off for him, as Christian Houseman has just slipped down. Oh, no, he's spun. Oh no, Houseman now falls to the back of the field. It's, as we tend to see, is action throughout the field.
Certainly is. I have to say, Dylan Warren, not sure whether he had a technical glitch there or something, but certainly did ghost. But he came back at really the wrong time. And certainly, I've spoken to Tom Martinez several times before. He's quoted saying that his luck has not been on his side, certainly throughout this PSGL Championship. He's been so unfortunate on many an occasion to have other cars sort of dive in out of nowhere and sort of take him out. But he's willing to try and make it work for him. He's going to try and turn it around. Certainly had a very close moment there with Dylan Warren, but he's okay, at least for now. In behind, you can see Neon in 10th spot, with Dylan Warren now nursing his own car in P11 with Sam McBride hot on his tail, currently just under 0.5 of a second. In behind is the Black Arrow right now. Floris Viers in P13 for Ferrari, with Andreas Dormeyer chasing him down, but Antoine Desalewski consolidating that P1 spot. Half a second the deficit between him and Jack Laverty. They seem to be quite comfortable at the top now.
DRS is going to be available to the drivers now. Oh, trouble for Viers! Literally, just as you mentioned his name, now your turn to get a commentator curse in, Mr. Welshman, as Floris Viers now rejoins the track right in front of Houseman. Oh, it's a good thing the Ferrari was ghosted there, as Jeffrey Miguel would have actually slammed into the back of him. But Floris Viers now down to 19th. Ikebania is the one trailing at the tail end of the field. My goodness me, not even esports veterans can hang on to the pace at the moment. Just goes to show how hotly contested F2 is this season, as Ikebania is the first to get a penalty on the board. Oh no, he's gone off the road. That race is going from bad to disastrous for the second McLaren. That is not what he would have wanted. But look at the train behind Antoine Desalewski. He's still got the fastest lap of the race, trying to stretch his legs up front. At the moment, it's Jack Laverty and everybody else not wishing to let him go. Also keeping an eye on Sam McBride. He's doing pretty well, hanging on to the back of all the soft runners. I'm not sure, how long do the soft tyres tend to last here at Suzuka?
Well, I'd probably say you're talking around about 10 laps, I would have estimated, maybe a little bit more. You could probably squeeze out maybe 11 or 12. It's a big effort, but Tom Martinez now fancying a move down the inside of turn 1, though. And I have to say, testing his bravery up through the next S section as they fly through now. Chanakinchi trying to hold on for all he's worth. A bit of a touch there on the front wheel, but Tom Martinez, brilliant, with Chanakinchi down at the mercy of Neon, who's trying to scrap him for that P9 spot. Oh, dearie me for Chanakinchi. He's been beaten, certainly through the snake section, twice down. And I have to say, what a move from Tom Martinez. He picked this spot. It was very brave for him to do so. We know about that S section. It's very unforgiving, but he made it work for him. And Neon managed to, obviously, well, he collected as well. I have to say, great move, opportunistic. Can't wish for any better than that.
Wow, that was a very brave move. It's not exactly wide down there in the S section to go side by side, but they managed to do it with minimal contact. We've lost one. Ikebania has parked the car. Not surprised. His race has gone very badly for him, so he's decided not to continue. As we see the top part of the field really trying to chase off after Desalewski.
Here we go.
Whoa, Dylan Warren again on the back of Chanakinchi. He's trying to make up for lost time. He's going to try and banzai down the inside of the Cassia Triangle. No, he opts not to go for that particular move, as he continues to stare at the back of the Black Arrow, and that's Dylan Warren in. Now, was that planned or was that damage? We did see that he was struggling a little bit. Now the medium runners are starting to pick up their pace a bit. No new front wing for the McLaren. That's medium tires, probably a bit early. But he's decided to throw the dice and get out of that particular train. We'll see what he can do. But that may be well timed. If the medium runners are now starting to set the fastest lap times, that may well be great timing for Dylan Warren.
Well, I'm wondering whether he might be preempting a safety car or something. I'm surprised he perhaps didn't choose the hard tyres. I did wonder whether that might be the route to go. But I have to say, I admire his confidence. We'll have to wait and see what he does. Certainly those tyres are going to be feeling a little ugly towards the end of the race if he's trying to take them all the way to the end. But you never know. We've seen undercuts prove very, very, well, certainly work in the favour of those sometimes. So maybe it will work out for him, but we'll have to wait and see.
We will indeed. There's the commentators' bets right with one another. John Evans and Sam Bean currently in 5th or 6th position. Oh, the Williams gets very close to the tail end of the Aston Martin now. Of course, using ERS Energy, DRS Open. Well, no DRS Open at that particular point, but using ERS nonetheless is what everybody is doing. Everyone just minding their own business now, settling into their rhythm. Wow, as I say, that Dormeyer on the outside line coming down trying to make a move on Christian Sindel. They still side by side. No, as the position's been wrestled from by the AlphaTauri. Whoa, that was Sindel getting a bit squiggly, leaving the Casio Triangle. That's Jack Lafferty has come into the pits then. Whoa, that's we can see in that shot Christian Sindel getting a really under pressure from Ghetto, and that's for 12th position at the moment as Igabenia has left the session. That's not the car I was aiming for. Out comes our pole sitter Jack Lafferty on medium tyres, and this, well, yeah, I think several people may well be trying the banking on the safety car coming in, because that does seem a long way to go on the mediums, or they're going for a two-stop strategy. Surely that's the more likely option.
Well, it's a very aggressive move by both Dylan Moran and Jack Lafferty. It's interesting that they both opted for that. They're certainly two of the few that have chosen to make that move. I mean, Jack Lafferty's reasoning, obviously he was stuck behind Antoine Desilewski, could not see any rhyme or reason to want to stick him behind him, maybe looking to try and get him in the strategy phase. So maybe we'll just have to wait and see. It depends on what happens. It'll be interesting to see what happens after Antoine comes into the pit lane and we can see where Jack Lafferty comes out on track. I mean, I can't imagine that Dylan Warren and Jack Lafferty's moves were necessarily in vain. They obviously have planned this. Otherwise, who would pit this early if they did not have a plan? I find it very interesting.
We will see as in comes race leader and second position. Desilewski and Luke Welch have come in along with Chanakinchi. So several people ditching the soft tyres now. That hands the race lead over to Luke Smith in the AlphaTauri with our bets. John Evans and Sam Bean right behind them. There's Norberto as well in 4th position in the Ferrari. Neon still close to the back of... that's not the car I was aiming for. That's the car I was aiming for. Neon on the back of Tom Martinez as Dylan Warren with those fresh mediums sets the fastest lap of the race. That is 17th position. There he is in the McLaren. Where is Jack Lafferty? Is a couple of cars ahead of him. I wonder whether either Dylan had maybe made a mistake somewhere, because he seemed to lose quite a bit of time on Jack Lafferty in the pit stop phase. But Jack's right in the midst of traffic there. There's Desilewski leading that small train. As Paris Burrell looks like he's having a bit of an argument with Ghetto. I think he's made a mistake somewhere. And he's now right behind the Haas. There he is in the Red Bull, in the lovely white flavoured Red Bull. Luke Smith. Now, Luke Smith actually is close to getting out of DRS range to John Evans. I wonder if that's going to make him extend his stint. If he's able to get some laps with no DRS behind him, that could be interesting to see if he's going to extend his stint any.
Yeah, it will be interesting. I mean, I'm seeing now more and more boxing. Obviously, we just saw him on the previous lap. Be interesting to see if Luke Smith does decide. And Luke Smith does box as well. John Evans has come in to follow. So they all want to pit around this lap 6 stage. Lap 5 and lap 6. The man who might have pulled it off is Jack Lafferty. Let's keep an eye on him as he now makes his way after the 130R. He's coming into the final chicane now, and certainly be interesting to see whether he manages to move himself ahead of our race leader Antoine Desilewski, as we're now seeing him come around the pit. Well, obviously Antoine's now out back onto the track, as we're now seeing them come through now. Lots of them. Luke Smith coming back out now. So Jack Lafferty in behind Antoine Desilewski, and the gap between them, just as it was, 3.5 tenths of a second. Not a lot of change in the strategy change. Nope,
that's made absolutely no difference at all. Well, this is what we want to see, isn't it? We want to see the battles on track. We don't. Well, I don't want to see it done in pit stop strategy. I want to see them fighting to the death, so to speak. But Sam McBride has the lead at the moment, of course, starting on those medium tyres with Dormeyer, Sindel, Gedont, and Paris Burrell in hot pursuit. Yeah, Christian Hausman is the one that's very much the odd one out very much on his own. He's got Floris Vias, who we have seen have a spin earlier in the race, and then everyone else behind who has pitted. So I don't know that strategy is going to go well for Houseman. I think he's definitely banking on a safety car or some kind of disruption to the race to make that one work. But this looks like it's not Antoine de Zalewski, it's advantage de Zalewski.
Yeah, it certainly is at the moment. He's currently sitting 6.5 tenths of a second clear of Jack Lafferty. One guy who did actually make some places in the pit stop phase was Dylan Warren. He's gone ahead of Tom Martinez and Norberto. So he's managed to gain a few places. Remember, it was Martinez who managed to get ahead of Dylan Warren earlier on. He's managed to get those positions back in the pit stop phase. So credit to him. He's managed to gain a couple and gain himself a little advantage as they now make their way down the straight yet again. Jack Lafferty still in second place, bringing down that deficit between him and Antoine de Zalewski, with Lewis Welch in behind as well. Luke Smith closing up on the rear of them too. This DRS train has once again resumed here at Suzuka as they make their way up through the first sector into the second sector very, very shortly. And I have to say, incredible race so far, lots of action. We've certainly had you usually see a lot of the aggressive moves taking place. Usually after all the pit stops have been done, that is when the drivers sort of let everything loose, should we say, out on the circuit. But I have to say, we saw a lot of action very early on. But I tell you what, as time ticks down towards the end of this race, I wouldn't be surprised if they go hell for leather towards that portion of the race event.
What a shame, eh? Yeah, let's have it. As far as I'm concerned, it's a great way for me to blow the cobwebs off. It's been a while since I've been in the F1 commentary box, and what a race to greet me back with. There we go. There's the top five in that particular shot. Sam McBride still leading the way in the Mercedes. They're going to be pitting probably another within the next. Whoa! I was about to say within the next few laps as the Mercedes gets really sideways on the exit of the Cassia Triangle. Here comes Dormeyer. Outside line coming down towards turn one. Surely that's job done well before they get to the braking zone. So that one mistake has cost Sam McBride the lead at the moment. New race leader is Andreas Dormeyer in the AlphaTauri. But Sendel, Ghetto and Paris-Barrow not far behind at all. What's Antoine de Zalewski? Outside line into the first turn. That's the worst camera in the world. There we go. That's no better at all. And he's managed to get Floris Vias on his worn tyres on the outside of the first turn. Very nicely done for the Aston.
Yeah, it just goes to show how effective those medium tyres are out of the garage. He closed the gap on Floris Vias very quickly after he came out of the pit lane. He's only been out a couple of laps, has Antoine de Zalewski, and already caught up with the others. So that deficit now is starting to wind down. I would not be surprised if he starts to gain on Christian Hausmann, because those soft tyres are going to be throbbing a bit now, and that Alfa Romeo is going to have to box, I'd imagine, in the next couple of laps or so. But look ahead too, you got G2 Paris-Barrow, of course, who is only another 4 tenths of a set, well, should we say another 9 seconds behind, ahead of Hausmann. So I tell you what, Antoine could catch up with a lot of these very, very quickly.
I dare say he's likely to, bearing in mind that the top 6 still have to come into the pits. So it's definitely going Antoine de Zalewski's way. He seems to be immune to the commentator curse for now. Look at the gap he's built up over the Ferrari already. And of course, Jack Lafferty and the rest of the field are... What's say this? Whoa! Just comment on that. That's Jack Lafferty. He did not want to be stuck behind the Ferrari, just as I was commenting on. Hausmann has now come in. Floris Vias is now defending for all he's worth. Obviously, he's perfectly entitled to do.
3 wide.
But it is indeed 3 wide. Lewis Welch and Luke Smith have all followed through. Floris Vias has lost 3 positions in the... Oh my goodness me! That's Lewis is gone! How on earth did everybody miss him? That was very well observed from John Evans there. That could have been horribly nasty, but well observed there. Lewis will probably feel a bit aggrieved. He was a bit shoved onto the grass, but that has been very, very costly for him, down to 17th. Oh dear. As John... They're still going, yeah. Floris Vias still losing positions. Whoa, that was a big snap there from the Ferrari as the McLaren of Dylan Warren is now right with him. I think the McLaren's actually inside the Ferrari according to that particular camera shot. So whether that's technical trouble, desync or whatever it is, the 2 cars are occupying literally the same spot on the track. We'll look away from that for the moment as the top few are still, well, they're not so much battling, they're just kind of following the tyre tracks of Andreas Dormeyer at the moment. That's about 0.6 of a second between the AlphaTauri and the Mercedes now. Are they opting to come in this time? Nope, not interested. And they continue on along the merry ways. Flores Fires continuing to fall through the field, now down to 13th place. Well, he's got some lag going on as he's now lagged behind Tom Martinez for 14th position. Oh, get owned, and Christian Sandell bouncing off one another. That's a 3-second penalty for Sandell, which may well be appealed depending on if he picks up. Oh, big twitchy moment there for get owned as Sandell was very much forced wide on the first turn, so that may well be appealed post-race, but it of course depends if he picks up any other warnings, etc, etc. Flores Valles has fallen again to 15th position. Those medium tyres are pretty much crying enough, but soft tyres aren't going to make it from there, so it's a bit of a tough day in the office for Flores Valles.
Yeah, he's falling down the field, not enjoying himself, that's for sure. I think certainly heading through the first sector, they were all eyeing him up like a tasty chicken leg at that point in time. Heading down through the Degners, he was pretty much left for dead at that point. Incredible moment, though, as we're now watching Tom Martinez as well trying to come through the field. He's now trying to chase on Norberto. The gap between those two currently lying at 0.3 of a second, and we could well see them certainly spice up this sector of the circuit as they now come through the next right-hander at 200R. And very shortly up towards Spoon Curve, they can see Norberto currently in behind Dylan Warren as well. Quite a train of cars we have here, and Tom Martinez might fancy his chances heading down towards the 130R at turn 14 as they're now spiralling down this next section. Very shortly, they'll take turn 14. You can see them all nose to tail, pretty much, well, glued together, should we say, nose to wing, as they now power their way down towards the next chicane. Tom Martinez, inside move. Wow, what a brave effort. Certainly trying to gain another position. He might get another chance, though. DRS opens up here for Martinez as he now sends it down the straight alongside the paddock, and certainly does cross the line. I'd imagine, is that Chanakichi's the race there?
He is indeed. He had a spin coming out of Cassia Triangle. Just saw that as we were watching the amazing movements you were talking about. Unfortunately, I saw then Chanakinchi get very, very crossed up on the exit of the Cassia Triangle. Then he hit the pit lane entrance wall, which lost him his front wing, and he's decided to park the Mercedes. Another victim of this race, very sadly so. But Tom Martinez, what a great scrap that was, and in the end he is one out. Oh, as the Alpine gets very squiggly coming into the Degners, and Alberto's not too far behind. He could try a counter-attack, but we'll see how that one goes. Let's check in with Dezalewski. There he is. Not really much to report there. Oh, as Flores Valles has had another spin. That's down at Dunlop. So the Ferrari is looking fairly sorry for itself at the moment. That's such a shame for the, like I said earlier, the esports veteran of Flores Valles, but still turning at least. We'll see if he chooses to continue as we jump back to Andreas Dormeyer. Still no pit stop for the front five.
Yeah, not at all, but your pick, Samuel Bean, now starting to close up once again on John Evans. The two of them have been scrapping pretty much the entirety of this race, and as they peel through the next, or should I say final chicane, DRS will open up now for Samuel Bean, as Luke Smith now sets the fastest lap of the race with a 129.993 as they make their way down towards turn 1. Samuel Bean not able to get close enough to John Evans, of course, with the DRS trade currently in full flow as Lewis Welch now makes a move himself on Neon as he now powers down the stretches because Neon is in the pit lane. Neon has chosen a pit stop. He's gone on to a set of softs, so you'd anticipate him to be quick towards the end of this race, but the question is, will he have enough at the very end?
That's it. Also new front wing for Neon, so he's been involved in an incident of some description. Flores Valles has brought his car in now, as I thought he might. He's parked that one. That's 3 down. Hopefully we'll have some left by the end of the race. But yeah, Neon, fresh set of softs. 13 laps, I guess they can, with a bit of a lighter car, but those tyres are going to feel very sorry for themselves towards the tail end of it. Who can we keep an eye on? Let's look at, that battle, Sam Bean and John Evans. They've been absolutely glued for the entirety of the race, haven't they? It's still looking advantage the Welsh Dragon as far as the commentator bets were concerned. But we'll see. Still another 13 laps to go.
Yeah, certainly will do. Heading around the 130R again, John Evans holding his own in P9 with Samuel Bean locked in behind. 3.5 tenths of a second, still the gap as they come through the final chicane yet again and will commence the next lap out of Casio Triangle down through the home straight now. And as I said, DRS now opens up. Dylan Warren has also joined the fight with Tom Martinez as well, closely in behind those as well, as they now round turn 1, heading round turn 2 now as well very, very shortly. And they'll take the snake section once again, this time in lap 15 of 27. And another fastest lap this time, though, by Christian Hausmann with a 129.886. And he's starting to go to work, certainly, in brushing out those fastest laps. But certainly on medium tyres, that's no mean feat. I'd imagine very quickly, though, those will be taken away with those that will pit onto the soft tyres very, very shortly, as we're now seeing John Evans come around the Degners now with Jack Lafferty in full view. Right ahead of him, and certainly as the gaps come down, I don't think those on the medium tyres have a lot to be concerned about, Chris, due to the fact that gap now between Antoine Desilewski and Christian Sendel is now down to 8.2 seconds. So you'd imagine when they pit, they will certainly easily take the official lead of this race.
Indeed, as Jeffrey Miguel Rinarici has had a spin. He's missing a fair chunk of front wing, which is exceedingly painful at a track such as this. Whoa, that's Sam McBride that's very close to the tail end of Andreas Dormeyer. And in come the top two. So Dormeyer and Sam McBride in together. That's going to hand the lead over to Getone. Bear in mind he was nearly last at one point. Now leads the way with Paris Burrell right with him. Sendel has chosen to continue as well. Soft tyres for Dormeyer and McBride. Of course, that's going to hand fourth position over to Desilewski. There he is, 8.2 seconds behind Christian Sendel, and continuing to chew away at that particular gap. Where does Dormeyer and McBride come out? 12th and 13th is the answer to that. So they are going to be pretty hot stuff. That's they're only 3.7 seconds behind Norberto, actually. So they could really challenge if they're able to find a suitable passing point, of course. Overtaking not the easiest thing in the world to do here in Suzuka. Oh, this pack is once again, as we cut back to Sam Bean and John Evans, as Jeffrey Miguel Rinarici has come into the pit and speeding in the pit lane as well. He's parked his car as well. That's victim number 4 of this very, very tough race. Yeah, this pack here that is 5th down to 11th, it just very much epitomises what we see every single week here in F2. It's just absolutely amazing. These big packs of cars all fighting for position. Oh, that's Paris Burrell on Getone. Getone must have had a horrendous exit from Spoon, as Paris Burrell was a bit wide there coming through. Oh, that's close. Coming through 130R. Are they going to pit this time? Yes, they do. So Paris Burrell led briefly before they came into the pits. Christian Sendel as well is going to hand the lead back over to the Aston of Antoine Desilewski.
Well, Getone certainly at the mercy there of Paris Burrell, who was donning the helmets of the late great Ayrton Senna, of course, and I'm sure Senna would have been proud of a move like that himself, I'm sure. But Antoine Desilewski now takes the lead of this Grand Prix officially now, with Luke Smith in behind, and that gap has totally plunged out by nearly 2 seconds. So that is absolutely sensational. Antoine Desilewski looking to shut up shop here, and Jack Lafferty now down into P3, with John Evans now in the official P4 spot, but crucially only 3/10 now, 2 and a bit tenths of a second away from Jack Lafferty himself. I tell you what, the battle for the podium, it's not over yet.
Definitely not. No, Desilewski has got the most comfortable lead he'll have had all race long with that 2 seconds. He just has to kind of cruise and take it easy now, but the scrapping for second onwards is very, very intense. Don't discount Dormeyer backwards either, because of course they on fresh soft tyres. They could easily get involved in this train of medium runners whose tyres are going to be pretty much past their best by quite some distance by now. We will see, as we still look at John Evans and Sam Bean very, very close together as they scream their way towards 130R once again. Jack Lafferty is going to be feeling a lot of pressure here. He will be getting a little bit of slipstream from Luke Smith, but not a lot. Is John Evans going to banzai that one in the Casio Triangle? Oh, Sam Bean, I thought he was going to slam into the back of the Aston there. I wonder if he thought, oh, there again, yes, the tail of the Williams just letting go. We've seen that several times from several drivers coming out of the Casio Triangle. Just too many horses trying to deploy down to the tarmac, and the tails just having none of it. But he does manage to just fend off Dylan Warren to maintain 5th position.
Yeah, if you remember now, looking further up between this battle between John Evans and Jack Lafferty, Lafferty's tyres now are going to start feeling a little bit sick very shortly. John Evans, 9-lap-old mediums. There's crucially 2 laps difference in the tyre wear, which will certainly become apparent towards the end of this race. You can see now that John Evans is already right on the rear diffuser of that Williams, currently in P3 spot. John Evans hurtling around the second deck there, now heading up the stretch before he then hightails around turn 10 before the hairpin at turn 11. And certainly that Williams is going to be feeling very uncomfortable as very nearly John Evans going into the rear wing of the Williams again as he makes his way around this next right-hander now through 200R. In behind you can see Samuel Bean, who also fancies a chance, and you get the feeling that Samuel Bean needs there to be a little bit of battling and squabbling going on between John Evans and Lafferty to take his chance. We could very much see a 3-car swing at this point in the race as now John Evans down the back straight now, soon to be the 130R. I get the feeling he's going to be teeing something up now, heading into the Casio Triangle as they make their way down now. He's going to certainly run wide. No, he's going to stay glued in behind, but I tell you what, that won't absolve Jack Lafferty of any possible overtake that John Evans could make, as he will have DRS heading out of this section now, down the paddock straight now, across the start-finish line. John Evans has had enough, surely. Down into turn 1 now does the Aston Martin. This is for P3 in the race, and certainly down the inside as he rides now around turn 2, loses the rear as they now plough through the snake section. John Evans went for it, but he couldn't seal the deal.
Brilliant defending from Jack Lafferty for third position. Both cars getting very, very squiggly as another car is retired from the race. Christian Sandell has parked that one in the pit lane. He's had enough of this one, but my goodness, brilliant move from John Evans, but even better defending from Jack Lafferty. Jack Evans, I'm now muddling up the names again. But right, if we're right on board with Dylan Warren, he's actually a great camera car for the entire battle ahead of him. Luke Smith has not been able to break away from it either. As trouble sector 1, have we? I think someone's had a bit of a moment. That's got to be Houseman. It's the only Alpha still running, so he's had a bit of an issue down there at turn 1. But what an incredible battle for third place, particularly. You know, the fighting doesn't have to be for the lead. It can be just as intense anywhere in the field. Desilewski has backed off a little bit. That lead now just under 2 seconds, but he doesn't need to do anything. His tyres are as old as most people. Dylan Warren's actually got the oldest tyres of this pack, but he doesn't mind. He's just enjoying the view. I think he's waiting for those ahead of him to come together, and with how close Lafferty, Evans and Bean are, it's not a bad bet, in fairness.
No, not at all. I tell you what, all these drivers now are battling to become Challenger Series drivers.
Oh, Dylan Warren!
Challengers. Oh, we got Dylan Warren now down the certainly down the inside, and now might try to fight his way through around turn 1. And I have to say, a tasty move on Sam Bean, who I have to say looked more throughout them, sling each other through the snake section. Oh, Samuel Bean's off. Samuel Bean is off the track into the grass. And I have to say, I'm not sure what caused that, but he's just found himself in front. That is a very dangerous rejoin. Right in front of Sam McBride, who I must say must be feeling very, very unhappy about that. What a moment at this point in the race. They go, oh no! Oh dearie me! Massive incident at the Degners, and Samuel Bean, his race has just crumbled right before his eyes, and the Williams is now down into P12.
Well, that start, I think it was a little bit of a touch between Dylan Warren and Sam Bean, but it was a fair move from Dylan, in fairness. We've seen it pay off, we've seen it not happen as well. But that was a fair shout from Dylan Warren. I think it was a tiny bit of impact when Dylan got a bit of oversteer coming through the S's that sent Sam off into the dust, but sadly the rejoin was less than ideal. However, we'll let the stewards figure that one out if they're going to apply a penalty or not. But there is John Evans all over the back still of Jack Lafferty. Looks like the commentator's bet is definitely going to go the way of Wales, and to a more deserving person you couldn't find. Fair play to you, Mr. Morgan, for picking that one out. Here comes Evans. Is he going to make the move this time? DRS open on both these cars coming into the first turn. No, Jack Lafferty is showing a defensive masterclass here at Suzuka.
And he needs to. I have to say, he needs to be defensive, and he needs a masterclass, because he knows that John Evans is relentless. He is like a shark in the sea. He is absolutely tenacious, does not know when to give up the fight. And now, right in behind this Williams, he knows he wants to grab that P3 spot. Points mean everything, certainly in this championship. They're all, remember, battling for a for a place in the top tier of PSGL for the next season. If they can put on a good account, then certainly it puts them in the frame for potentially a battle in amongst some of the esports finest drivers in the world, certainly the best in the world, professionals in their craft. As now come around the next right-hander now, very shortly, Spoon Curve will be the next corner yet again. You can see there Jack Lafferty still holding on to P3 for the Williams team. In behind you can see John Evans, this time for Aston Martin. I have to see Dylan Warren, what a drive he has had. Certainly 15 lap on mediums, the very first car to pit in this race as well, and the undercut has granted him this incredible position, but can he hold on to it right to the end as John Evans now looks to try and throw everything but the kitchen sink, and Jack Lafferty into the Casio Triangle chicane this time, now powering out to that final corner. They've got DRS yet again. The Aston Martin opens it up, half a second the deficit. It's not going to be enough because Jack Lafferty crucially has DRS on Luke Smith.
And Sam McBride is almost in DRS range of that pack, so that's those soft runners are now starting to come good. Now Andreas Dormeyer and Sam McBride have just swapped round, so Sam McBride now the lead of the soft runners, and there you can see that's the back of Norberto. That's 7th position that the soft shod Mercedes now has in his sights. So that's going to bring in Sam McBride, Andreas Dormeyer, Paris Burrell and Getone into this fight. It is not done by any sort. The only one that's comfortable is that one, which is Anton Dezalewski. He has no idea of the battling going on behind him. He's having a comparative Sunday drive out front without being bothered by anyone. But this is absolutely amazing. We're going to have 2nd to 11th in a potential podium battle.
That is why we like Formula One, Chris. That's exactly what this race is all about. That's what PSGL is all about. I hope you're all enjoying it there at home, folks, because we certainly are. And Sam McBride, who's had a great race so far, literally been nursing his soft tyres around the track, P8, trying to garner any delta he can get on Norberto. He needs to try and get within DRS, but that is not the concern right now, because John Evans now, crucially, bringing that gap down sharply between him and Jack Lafferty. Yet again, as they now come out to the final corner, it springs out to just over 4/10 of a second. Dylan Warren now very much in the scrap as well. The McLaren finding some slipstream, a little bit of pace as they make their way down towards turn 1. The delta gaps are minimal, thinner than a fly's eyelash, folks. Incredible racing. Lap 23 of 27. Hold on to your hats.
Absolutely amazing stuff. Keeping an eye as well on Andreas Dormeyer, keeping Sam McBride company there in 8th position, almost in DRS range now of that pack. Luke Smith, we haven't really mentioned him. He's hung on to 2nd position brilliantly well, but there are times when he must really feel under pressure, because Jack Lafferty, who's had to play the defensive game so hard, is still in DRS range of the AlphaTauri in 2nd position. So Luke Smith has not been able to capitalise on the battling behind him. So if he makes a single mistake, and it's very easy to do here in Suzuka, we've seen even the very best make mistakes, then Luke Smith will not necessarily have it all his own way. Just bear that one in mind. Sam McBride now under a second to those ahead of him. So again, the soft runners may not be enough time for them to play a significant role, but you never know. Those softer tyres, much younger, could still pick up a position or two before the checkered flag falls. Neon getting the fastest lap. He's down in 15th, nearly a lap behind. He's out there having a bit of fun, and why not deny somebody else a point, if nothing else. It's a good problem for us commentators to have. It's difficult to know with the look. Is yet again Jack Evans under the rear wing of the Williams. Tail gets loose coming out of the Casio Triangle. My goodness me, that car is switching all over the place. Those tyres now really feeling difficult to hang on to. Dylan Warren is keeping Tom Martinez at bay. Oh, yeah. I can't get the words out fast enough.
No, 3 laps left, and this is what happens. Hell for leather for the end of this Grand Prix, folks. Anton Dezalewski, the only man that's comfortable, has managed to sling another 0.2 of a second on Luke Smith. So we know that he's feeling good around this circuit of Suzuka. Jack Lafferty, there you can see him as we're now watching him and John Evans tussle it out at this circuit. Certainly John Evans starting to bring the hammer down now. Knows that a podium is up for grabs as they round the next right-hander. No penalties in the top 10 as things stand, as he now cruise up towards the hairpin bend, certainly in turn 11, and John Evans so close to the rear of Jack Lafferty. And I have to say, John Evans, surely a surefire favourite to potentially even pick up a P2 if he can get close enough to Luke Smith. Dylan Warren also coming into the race as well. Is now round spoon curve now. This next swinging left-hander that we all love to see at turn 13. Powering out now, feathering the throttle as he now exit down through towards 130R. The Aston Martin now trying to tee up an opportunity. He's closer than he's ever been this time on the Williams. Could get it done in the Casio triangle. John Evans down the outside now. Goes for the exceptional as they come through down the outside now. Evans holding on, but so is Lafferty. With how tenacious he is. A wave of the hand there from John Evans as the DRS opens up now. They're both sharing it. Dylan Warren. Wow, from Dylan Warren. He's going to make a move down the inside now. Can he pull it off? Not this time. Not this time.
My goodness me, Lafferty, from losing 2 positions, managed to sweep back around the outside of the McLaren. Tom Martinez almost followed through as well. My word, this is not done at all. Absolutely unreal. We've lost Neon now. As I don't know whether he's parked it or whether he's had an incident, but that's another one gone from the race. That is 6 cars that are no longer with us. But my goodness me, it is absolutely impossible. And on board with Sam McBride is, if nothing more than a camera car for us. This is absolutely incredible. Oh, is Norberto, not sure whether he was trying to make a move or just trying to mind his own business, but suddenly caught the Mercedes out. Now, can Sam McBride do anything about it? Of course, he's got the softer tyres as mentioned, but there may well just not be any way he can use that advantage. Now the DRS is being a little bit, or potentially being upset, because look at the gaps. They're not all within a second of one another anymore. Can John Evans just hold on to that podium position? Dylan Warren has made the move on Jack Lafferty now on the inside, coming down towards 130R. Can he hold on to it? Can Tom Martinez banzai that one on the inside of the Casio triangle? No. Jack Lafferty has that one held off, but John Evans has timed that one to perfection. Already has 1.5 seconds. Where to look? Where to look? I have absolutely no idea.
Oh, it's been an absolutely thrilling race. He's now in behind. You can see that Tom Martinez fancies his chances on Jack Lafferty into turn 1. I've lost vision of the game. I've lost vision of the game right now.
My game has crashed. I don't believe this. My game has crashed at a point Tom Martinez was making the move. I don't believe this. With 2 laps to go, my game has just crashed.
Unreal. Folks, I have no words for you. I could not see what is going on. I'm just seeing if I can rejoin. The game is gone. We do apologise for this, folks. Obviously, this is an occurrence we haven't witnessed in a long, long time. But incredible battling, and it's cruel that it has to do this on the final lap.
Oh my goodness me! The action was that hard. Not even my game handle it. That's the thing. Oh my goodness me! I don't know if the lobby is still running. I don't know if every driver has crashed out. I will see if I can rejoin. You can hear me going through the menus. Bear with me. That's all I'm going to say is just bear with that. I must admit, that is the first time I've had that in a long, long time. Yes, there are issues. We all know this, but that's the first time I've actually had a crash like that.
Well, I'm pleased to say that I am still there, so I'm just coming back into the game. So I'm going to give you some radio-style commentary, folks. So brace with you, unless, of course, you can get in as well, Chris.
Yep, just rejoining now.
Just rejoined. So we will be bringing you pictures, certainly of the grand finale. That is the final lap. I think there was 2 laps left from what I could remember, so we might be able to get back in time for the final lap. So do sit tight. It'll all be okay now. And yes, indeed, we're on the final lap now. And certainly Antoine Desilewski on the final lap, heading it through the snake section. Currently out on track, John Evans is in P3 with Dylan Warren P4. Martinez in P6 with Sam McBride on a mega charge on soft tyres right now, and certainly looking in good shape. I have to say, we're back underway now, Chris. Antoine Desilewski still comfortable.
Isn't he just? Well, there he is. Final lap of the race. Thankfully, we were able to rejoin Jack Lafferty in the pits. We didn't really see what happened to him. He's down in 14th now, so he'll be the last finisher. Look at that. Sam McBride. He was 8th, I think, when we left, when we were unceremoniously detached from the race, but he's still hanging on in there. But Antoine Desilewski is looking comfortable to just kind of dance home at this point. Luke Smith has hung on to second position. I don't think John Evans is going to be close enough to banzai that one, and indeed it looks that way. Wow, what? It was a shame that the ending of the race was a bit anticlimactic as far as the coverage was concerned, but we do apologise for that. But your winner here in Suzuka is the Aston Martin of Antoine Dezelewski. Luke Smith in the AlphaTauri second. John Evans for with no front wing even. My goodness me, that's happened very suddenly. In third position, Dylan Warren for Sam McBride for the Mercedes in fifth position. Tom Martinez sixth. Andreas Dormeyer by 7,000ths of a second in seventh position. Norberto in eighth. And Bean, my bet for the race, was down in ninth position. Gettoned in 10th from last to first to 10th. Nice effort there. Then it's Paris Burrell 11, Lewis Ross 12th, Christian Hausman 13. Our pole, look at that. Our pole sitter clearly had an incident we didn't see as he comes over the line in 14th place. Wow, what a race. I'm very honoured and glad that you were able to join me for, George. Oh, Struth. That's PSGL.
It is. You've taken the words out of my mouth. Certainly the drama is everything we've come to love about the PSGL PC Championship, and certainly we see it every week. Certainly where it comes to the F1 tier, we've seen it again, this time in the F2 tier. Those looking to try and get a seat at the very top of the game, the top of league racing. And once again, I think we've seen another grandiose encounter. Certainly Antoine Dezelewski will savour that result. It was a perfectly methodical race as far as he was concerned. He pretty much controlled the race from the word go, managed to get himself ahead of Jack Lafferty heading into turn one, and did the move where it counted, held on throughout the entirety of the race. And then in behind Luke Smith, all he could do was just hold on to that second place. He could not break into that second gap, and at the end of the day was left 2 seconds away. He did actually bring it in to 1.1 at the end, so credit to him for that. He did put on a charge, but credit all day goes to Antoine Dezelewski.
Absolutely. Started from the front row and led from lights to flag. Fair play to, look at that, Andreas Dormeyer starts 16th, finished in 7th. That's a great effort. That's why the game gave him driver of the day. Well, no particular argument there either. My goodness me. John Evans coming home in third position. Your bet there, Mr. George. Got that one absolutely fair shout. Let's see who is willing to have a chat to us, shall we? Because I'm very keen to hear what the drivers have got to say. Of course, it's completely optional. If they come and have a chat to us, they don't have to. Sometimes people are just too knackered after a race like that, and I wouldn't blame them at all. Oh, my goodness. Now the adrenaline's starting to wear off. What a race we've just seen.
Absolutely incredible, and I have to say, if that says anything, that is exactly what the community loves to see. I hope you guys all enjoyed it at home as well. Naturally, we had a huge support out there tonight. I would like to thank all the viewers who have come and joined us. Certainly, well over 200 of you tuned in to watch the action here tonight at Suzuka, and it's a pleasure to have you here week in, week out, supporting league racing, doing it for the community. Each and every one of you are a credit to what we pull off each and every week, and certainly it's a pleasure to see you all commenting, leaving your opinions in the live chat as well. We certainly had plenty of you in there giving your opinions and cheering on your favourite drivers as well, and shouting out for your favourite teams. But what an experience, and I have to say, it's a testament to this great community.
Yeah, completely so. I could not have put that better at all. We hope that you lovely people that have watched along either live or post-event have enjoyed it as much as we have. And like I say, it's been a couple of weeks since I was last in the F2 box. It was, of course, 2 weeks ago when we did Canada. So what a way to blow off the cobwebs, and that is why I so much look forward to commentating for PSGL. Yet to see any of our Podium 3 come and join us in Discord for a chat. Like I say, it's not mandatory for them to do so. I suspect there's going to be a few words from certain people on what's gone on. I suspect the stewards are going to have a few things to do after this one. Some racing incidents, some a little bit less so. Yeah, I don't envy the stewards on that one, but yeah, we still have got several races to go. We still have 4 more rounds after this one. It's Mexico next time out, and yeah, that's as much as that's a younger circuit as far as F1 as a whole is concerned. It still produces some incredible racing.
Yeah, it does. I mean, we're going there this weekend, certainly in the real world of Formula One as well, so it's quite a fitting time to go there. But yeah, one of the more unique circuits out on track. Not overly straight in terms of, well, you've got the home straight, of course, but most of it made up of very, very technical corners, certainly very frequent, should we say, semi-chicanes, also lefts and rights, 90-degree bends. It gets very testing out of the middle sector heading into sector 3 because you've got that snake section in itself where it's so easy to invalidate. I think qualifying is going to be quite an integral factor in that race, and it's very easy to invalidate out of turn 10 at Mexico. And then, of course, you've got the final, should we say, sector where you've got to make your way around the hairpin at the stadium section before making your way around the Peraltada, which is quite dangerous enough. You can certainly oversteer at that section as well if you put your foot onto the throttle far too quickly. But yeah, lots to be worried about, but certainly a lot of excitement as well.
Oh yes, you will find that right here, same time, same channel next week. It looks like the drivers are not wanting to come and have a chat, which is absolutely fine. They don't have to. So I think we will wrap it up for tonight. Thank you very much to those that have been with us throughout the stream and post-event. It is a great pleasure to have you on board with us. As mentioned, next time out it is Mexico. So that is going to be a absolutely spectacular event for this very community, and of course the real life racing going on this weekend as well. Thank you very much to the Lord God, George Morgan, for joining me at the last moment in the commentary box. It is an honour to be alongside you, good sir.
Well, it's an honour for me to be alongside you too, Chris, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. Great to be here at F2, and a pleasure to watch again another classic in PSGL.
Absolutely. Join us next time out for Mexico for more from the PSGL F2 League. Until then, thank you very much and good night.